In this video, we're going to be providing a detailed breakdown of the rematch between Oleksandr Usyk and Tyson Fury. It's here, the big fight, the heavyweight rematch between Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk, the rematch of the fight that they had in May, where they faced off for the undisputed heavyweight world title. And this fight had everything that you could ask for. From the intense build-up, the unbelievable ring walks, the cagey first few rounds, really technical affair. And then Tyson looked to take over in the middle rounds, but then Usyk took over in the back end of the fight, especially in that 9th round, where Usyk had Fury wobbling over the ring and getting that knockdown. Unbelievable drama, everybody around the world were off their feet watching it, and then Usyk took home the split decision victory to become the first undisputed heavyweight world champion in 25 years. So if that wasn't enough of a treat for boxing fans around the world, we now get to see it all again in the much anticipated rematch. It's going down on December 21st in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. How will the win or the loss affect the motivation of each athlete? What adjustments can each fighter make going into the rematch? What can they take from that first fight? What we're going to do is look at that first fight in this scientific breakdown using AI data. This is provided by Jabber.ai, and we can look at everything from the keys to success for Usyk, what made it such a close fight for Tyson Fury to win, what were the key combinations that each man landed, and it can also make some suggestions on what adaptations and adjustments that each fighter can make in the rematch to be successful. Will it be repeat? Will it be revenge? Let's find out on December 21st, but let's look at the data, the science behind Usyk versus Fury, the rematch. So this was a razor-close decision going to Oleksandr Usyk because this was a fight of two halves, with Fury taking the first half of the fight, then Usyk coming on strong for the second half of the fight. But what happened in that first half was really important for the fight. A lot of people suggested that Usyk would be too fit and his output would be too high for Fury, me being one of them in the pre-fight breakdown, that Fury would look to use his size as advantage. However, Fury was a lot on the back foot, looking to create a lot of distance between himself and Usyk. He used a lot of feints. This actually reduced Usyk's work output quite significantly. In the first 6 rounds, Usyk threw 61% less punches compared to his previous 5 fights. This is unbelievable. This is a massive reduction in punch output, and this was just due to Fury using the ring effectively, using feints, making Usyk second guess in his attacks. On the other hand, Usyk was making Fury work a lot harder than what he normally does. Fury, between round 2 and 6, threw 24% more punches than he has done in his previous 5 fights. Usyk was making Fury work with the feints, with the actual punches thrown, because he was on the front foot. He was the aggressor. He was feinting himself, moving his head from side to side, trying to make Fury guess what would come in, making Fury work 24% harder. So making Fury work harder set up Usyk to start stepping up through the gears at the back end of the fight. Like I said, over the 12 rounds, it was quite close because it was a fight of two halves. But what happened in the first half set up Usyk to have a dominant round 7 to 12 by making Fury work harder, but also using body shots to try and fatigue Fury even further. Going into this fight, there was a lot being made about body shots and how Tyson Fury would target Usyk's body. But as we put into our pre-fight breakdown of this, we thought that Usyk would look to target Fury's body for a number of reasons. One, to fatigue Fury going into the latter stages of the fight, which clearly worked for him, but also as a rangefinder. Fury was creating a lot of distance, but also is a big target. Usyk being the shorter man, you got a big target right in front of you, target the body, and Usyk did this. He threw 62 backhands to the body and 50 jabs to the body. This was used as a rangefinder, but also one to drain Fury's gas tank. And he was highly accurate with this, especially with a rear hand to the body. Out of the 62 punches that Usyk threw, rear hand to the body, he landed 50 of these. This gives Usyk an 83% accuracy with the backhand to the body. This is phenomenal. If you think about heavyweight boxing, the average power punches landed is between 30 and 40%. So for Usyk to almost double this accuracy target with just a single punch is unbelievable. He targeted Fury with this backhand to the body a lot more than previous opponents. Analysing the last 8 opponents, he only averaged 18 backhands thrown to the body. So against Fury, he threw 3.4 times more backhands to the body than his previous 8 opponents. So you can see that this were a key tactic. One of the key punches that he threw was the jab to the body. And he threw 50 of these and landed 32. Using jabber statistics, what it does really well is actually look at what follows up from these punches. So what is the most likely combination that each boxer were going to throw in the fight? And with the jab to the body, Usyk either followed up mostly with the lead hook to the head or the backhand to the body. This is really important data going into this rematch. What can Fury actually do to adjust? Potentially, what he could do is close that distance to stop them straight hands to the body as a rangefinder. But obviously that's going to put Usyk to an advantage of being in close quarters. That's where Usyk wants to work. Soon as Fury went onto the front foot, Usyk looked to work in combinations, something that we're going to be talking about. Usyk landed a lot of these when Fury was on the ropes. So potentially Fury taking the center of the ring and then using foot defenses is going to be better off than kind of sitting on them ropes and letting Usyk kind of find that range. That's easier said than done, but there are a few things that Fury might look to do going into the rematch. So going into the first fight, a lot of people thought that Tyson Fury would be too strong and too big for Usyk. Look to smother him and work on the inside. However, looking at these graphs here, provided by Jabber.ai, Fury spent a lot of the time, majority of the time, on the outside and very minimal time on the inside. And if you compare this to his previous opponents, his previous 8 opponents, you can see there's a lot more time spent on the outside compared to his previous 8. So even though Usyk was the smallest opponent out of them previous 8, Fury didn't use that size advantage. He used it to his advantage in terms of using a long reach, evading Usyk for a lot of the fight, but actually working on that inside and working on the clinch like he'd done with previous opponents like Steve Cunningham and Deontay Wilder, where he really used his weight to advantage. He wasn't able to do it with Usyk. Probably the reasons why is when he did actually come onto that front foot, Usyk was very fleet-footed, got out of the way, let off a flurry of combinations. So many times Fury got found on that front foot, overreaching with that right hand, Usyk landing combinations, countering. This probably stopped Fury from actually working and getting on the inside to actually work. And when he did actually get in the clinch, Usyk's strength on the inside is very underrated. His positioning, his head positioning is just stopping Fury from working and using his body weight to his advantage. So going into the rematch, a lot of people are thinking one of the key adjustments that Fury can make is actually using his size and strength to his advantage more than he did in the first fight. He used his size and his strength quite well, and his boxing ability, especially in the mid rounds, he was hurting Usyk when he was like throwing punches effortlessly. He has got the size and strength over Usyk, but it's about trying to use that in that close range, working on the inside and working effectively in the clinches. A lot of people are thinking that Tyson Fury could be coming in heavier for this fight with that in mind. However, adding 10 pounds, 20 pounds be that significant. Fury was already 40 pounds heavier than Usyk going into the first fight. Adding 10 or 20 pounds, I don't think that'll have an effect on his strength in the clinch. It was all due to positioning. Usyk nullified a lot of Fury's work on the inside with head positioning and his arm positioning. With this going into the rematch, I think that it'd be a mistake if Fury came in heavier because that will affect his gas tank a bit more. And obviously you can see Usyk made Fury work really hard and Fury was fatigued going down them later rounds. With this in mind, Fury comes in heavier. That might be an indication that he is looking to use his size and strength, but it won't just be about weight alone. It'll be like how he gets on the inside, his positioning on the inside, and the punches that he actually throws on the inside as well. So that's really interesting data going into the rematch. Key moments for Tyson Fury in this fight and how he can turn this success into a winning formula in the rematch. Fury's best rounds were in rounds 5 and 6, and you really thought the tide was turning on Usyk. It even made Usyk look to kiss a crucifix going into round 7. Usyk's finding it really hard in there. Fury was landing some devastating shots, mainly the uppercut, the right hook to the body, really sinking them in there, really going through the gears, landing 3-shot combinations. You really thought that Fury was going to take over from here. Little segment here, Fury was really successful. He landed 41% of his punches in rounds 5 and 6, and 61% accuracy with his power punches. So he really found his range. Fury threw mostly single punches. 52% of his punches were single punches. 32% were two-shot combinations, meaning that 84% of Fury's work was actually two-shot combinations. In this fight with Usyk, he threw 11% three-shot combinations. Now, if you compare this with Usyk's previous 8 opponents, 8% of their punches were 3-punch combinations. So Usyk wasn't really used to this. So in these 2 crucial rounds in the fight, rounds 5 and round 6, Fury starts letting his hands go. He's landing 3, maybe even 4-shot combinations. But the majority of Fury's work is done in single and doubles. To get this success going into the rematch, Fury may look to try and convert these 2-punch combinations into 3-punch combinations, because you got to go and try and find Usyk, because Usyk is so elusive, fleet-footed, his head movement's fantastic. You almost need to go and then go again. Key punch for Fury in this fight was the double jab. And you can see in this segment here, where he's throwing the double jab, and then that's setting up the right hook to the body or the uppercut upstairs. Fury may need to use that double jab again and then start working in flurries. Obviously, there's going to be some risk attached to this. Fury, of course, working in single or 2-shot combinations. This is going to be more geared towards his endurance profile rather than working in these high-intensity bursts. So this might be more fatiguing. When you're throwing 3 or 4-punch combinations against Usyk, it's going to look to engage with you on the back foot. It's going to look to counter-punch. And this is what he did, Usyk. He actually worked a lot more in bursts in this fight than he did in his previous fights. You're looking at them flurry of combinations. As soon as Fury went on that front foot, Usyk used his foot defenses, used his head defenses, held his feet, then landed the punches. So this is exactly what he did to set up that famous punch and that famous 9th round. He was getting Fury to work on that front foot, working combinations, and then he countered with destructive force. So even though throwing in 3-punch combinations might be a key to victory going into this rematch, there's also an element of risk to that. In this fight, Usyk was really efficient. Much more efficient than he is in other fights. Usyk is known for his gas tank and the amount of punches that he throws. Most punches that he throws is that lead hand and looking to try and set up. However, in this fight, he looked to try and reduce this work output. This might be due to Fury's range, his size, Fury using the feints as well. But Usyk dropped his output quite significantly. This means that he actually was more efficient. He landed 41% of his punches. Normally, Usyk only lands 29% of his punches. So he threw less, but was more efficient with his work. With his power punches, he had a high amount of accuracy, landing 47% of his punches. So this is really vital in this, because Usyk had to work in bursts in this fight rather than aggression that he normally has with most fighters, where he's constantly on that front foot, constantly probing. Fury was boxing at such a long distance, Usyk would be wasting a lot of energy doing this. He had to work in bursts. When Fury's going onto that front foot, he looked to work in combinations here. He had to be more efficient in this fight. The numbers prove it. 47% of power punches landed, 41% of actual overall punches landed. But what were the punches that he landed? We already talked about his body work. We were talking about the combination punching of Fury. Let's talk about the combination punching of Usyk. 19% of Usyk's punches were thrown in 4-punch combinations. This is quite significant and it's really impressive, especially for heavyweights. To put it in context, Tyson Fury threw only 6% 4-punch combinations. And then in recent heavyweight fights this year, using the Jabber.ai stats, we've got Chisora, Joyce, Dubois, Zhang ranging between 6 and 10%. Some incredible fighters, Beterbiev and Bivol, one of the best fights of the year so far. Their 4-punch combinations were only 9 and 17%. So Usyk, being a heavyweight, 19% of his punches in 4-punch combinations is unbelievable. And like we just said about Fury going onto that front foot, Usyk looking to counter, looking to use his hand speed to advantage. You can see that this was a tactic going into the fight. In previous fights, Usyk threw only 15% of his 4-punch combinations, also 15% of his 3-punch combinations. He transferred this into this fight, swaying to 19% 4-punch combinations and only 11% 3-punch combinations. Usyk is wanting to work in bursts a lot more. Rather than probing with that lead hand, then looking to land a power punch, is actually looking to overall Fury with blistering hand speed in them 4-punch combinations. So it's going to be really interesting going into this rematch of what adjustments Fury can make to nullify these 4-punch combinations. But also, will Usyk actually use these 4-punch combinations? Because something that we're going to mention towards the back end of this video, there was success to this, there's also a detriment to this, because him working in bursts might make him more fatigued. So stay tuned into this video and I'll explain it even more. A quick interruption to tell you about our brand new course from Boxing Science. This is the ultimate coaching for combat sports online. This is a course that we've delivered all over the world. Now you can access this online. We have online webinars, practical demonstrations, and a whole load more. So if you're wanting to find out our training secrets of Boxing Science, check out the link in the description. You can also get 20% off using this discount code. So Usyk started to take over round 7, round 8, but his big round, the big swing round, was in round 9, where he landed that punch. Fury calls it the punch from the gods, but how it was set up was perfect. And how he followed that up as well was unbelievable, because he had Fury all over the place, but Usyk still managed to throw 23 power punches in 22 seconds. He landed 16 of these power punches, giving him a 70% accuracy, which is quite unbelievable, because to have this amount of accuracy when Fury was stumbling literally from pillar to post is quite remarkable. However, this sounds quite weird, but the fact that Fury was swaying this much actually worked into Fury's favour. There was significant breaks in between this flurry where Usyk was only just grazing or missing. You see this in slow motion here. This is a 5-second burst where Usyk isn't landing. So he landed some massive punches there, but we know from the data, most TKOs happen after intense bout 7 to 12 seconds. So with this prolonged over 22 seconds, Fury was kind of getting them in clusters of 2-punch combinations rather than actually taking 3 or 4, maybe 5 flush shots on the trot. So Fury being on unsteady legs, I'm not saying that he did it intentionally, but it actually helped Fury survive that 9th round. So that is probably one of the most dramatic moments I've ever watched live in boxing. And it looked like Fury was absolutely done at this point. But how did he survive? How did he get through them last 3 rounds? First of all, Fury's heart, his powers of recovery can never be questioned. He's shown this so many times in the Deontay Wilder fights, in his knockdowns against Ngannou, against Steve Cunningham, where it looked like he was down and out. He's always come back, especially that knockdown against Deontay Wilder. With this fight, he looked like it's the most hurt that we've ever seen him, even though he wasn't knocked out cold like he was against Wilder. He looked visibly tired, fatigued, and it looked like that Usyk was just about to get him out of there in the next round. Fury come round in the next round. Usyk looked to try and stop putting it on Fury, but Fury come out in the high guard, started using his feet, started using his feints, started to try and reduce Usyk's output. During the mid part of that round, something really interesting happened where Fury was in the corner, started showboating a little bit, and Usyk looked to reset, looked to try and have a little bit of recovery. We were on that front foot, looking to try and land on Fury. Looked like he was just about to start working, actually looked to step back. Even Fury looked a little bit confused to think what's up with him? One of the key things, and you saw it between round 5 and 6, where Usyk looked a little bit gassed. Even though he threw less punches in this fight, this would have drained his gas tank a lot more, because he was working in them 4-punch combinations, he was working in them bursts, constantly needing to be the aggressor still, but also have these high spikes in activity. And going into the 9th round, where he looked to try and get Fury out of there, obviously this was high spike in activity, a lot of power punches thrown back to back. This will add a drain on his gas tank, and you could see this visibly. Usyk's conditioning is phenomenal. He had to really dig in. He was definitely in the red zone during this stage. Normally, Usyk steps up through them gears between round 10 and 12, and a really big thing made of this in the pre-fight breakdown was his output is phenomenal in the last 3 rounds. However, this dropped significantly. So his punch output dropped by 18%. And in round 11, it dropped by a further 15%. So the difference between the amount of punches that Usyk threw in his previous 5 fights in the championship rounds between rounds 10 and 12 versus the fight with Fury, it reduced by 39%. This is quite significant and can show that Usyk just working in these bursts didn't really help him work in the championship rounds. Also, we mentioned in the pre-fight breakdown about round 9, where round 9, Usyk looked to drop his intensity to then step up for them later rounds. With this fight, he didn't step up. This was his most successful round 9. I actually got a few comments on social media because I put a reel up about round 9. It went viral, saying about how this could be a significant round for Fury to step on Usyk because he looked to have a round off. When in fact, Usyk looked to step up. Whether he looked to do this on purpose or not, I'm not sure. But because he didn't have this dip, he couldn't set up for them championship rounds. So because he didn't have this dip, it reduces output in them championship rounds, which will have affected like his ability to get that stoppage. Fury in round 9, you'd be thinking, this fight's done. Fury's power of recovery is hard. He looked to go toe-to-toe with Usyk in the 12th round. Unbelievable drama in that last round. Usyk couldn't step it up through the gears either. So it's going to be really interesting in this fight whether Usyk makes that adjustment. Does he need that little dip that he normally has? Or is it a sign that Usyk is feeling his age a little bit now? 37 years old, is it a sign that his gas tank is being affected now? He is feeling his age a little bit. Or is it because he was working in them intense bursts and he didn't have that strategic drop-off? Let's see in the rematch, but there's no comment about each fighter's gas tank here. Unbelievable conditioning going into this fight. Really high stakes fight. High punch outputs, fantastic technical affair. Obviously, Fury fatigued. Then that led up to some mistakes being made and Usyk landing them devastating punches in the 9th round and dominating the last half of the fight. But also, Usyk didn't have that flurry in the championship rounds to really step on Fury and get the stoppage. How will their conditioning be improved or will affect their performance and their strategies going into the rematch? It's really going to be interesting to find out. So that concludes the pre-fight breakdown of Usyk versus Fury, the rematch. It's been interesting, it's been intriguing, but it's also been fun to break down this fight and really look at what can be the keys to success going into the rematch. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you're visiting Boxing Science for the first time, as a lot of people do on these breakdown videos, we've actually seen that about 80% of people that watch these kinds of videos are actually not subscribers to the channel yet. If you're part of that 80% and you want to become part of the 20% and subscribe to the channel, where you get full workouts and breakdowns of the fights and the training of world champions, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future content. And if you're a keen strength and conditioning coach, boxing coach, MMA coach, you should check out our brand new online course, The Ultimate Coaching for Combat Sports. This is the most popular strength and conditioning workshop in boxing and combat sports, where we break down the boxing science training methods that's used with world champions. This has been delivered in multiple locations around the world. Now you can get access with just a click of the button. This is brand new, it's insightful, and it's going to take your coaching and your knowledge of sports science in boxing and combat sports to the next level. Up-to-date research and training techniques presented in online webinars, practical demonstrations, and a 100-page ebook jam-packed full of information and our boxing science training secrets. If you're interested in this, go and check out the link in the description, and you can also get 20% discount using this discount code UltimateCoach20. You can get access to this course at a much cheaper price. Okay guys, so that's the end of the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it and hopefully you're ready for this fight. The rematch going down between Oleksandr Usyk and Tyson Fury is definitely one for the ages. So make sure you sit down, watch with intrigue, and enjoy it. And hopefully I'll see you on the next video of Boxing Science.